Somehow Star Wars has returned. Hey guys, this is Stranger Frozen Wish to Use here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today I am going to be doing a review on Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, this is the Star Wars movie I'm actually most excited to talk about for reasons you'll see as the video goes on. So, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is the ninth and final installment in the Skywalker saga, as well as the 11th live action theatrically released Star Wars movie overall, counting Rogue One and Solo in the mix. And it came out in the year 2019. Well, do I need to say it's my favorite year ever? Because I think everyone who knows this show so well should know that by now. And it is directed by J.J. Abrams, and it stars Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, Naomi Aki, Domhnall Gleeson, Richard E. Grant, Lupita Nyong'o, Kerry Russell, Kelly Mary Tran, Ian McDiarmid, Billy D. Williams, Billy Lord, etc. And so the film tells a story taking place sometime after the events of Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't remember how long it was. I don't know how long the span between this and Last Jedi was, but if you guys know and you do pay attention to my videos, let me know down below how long the time span was, because I don't remember. And I don't think they explained it in the in the movie. So Palpatine has resurrected, and so after Kylo Ren kills Snoke in the events of the Last Jedi, he finds this wayfinder that leads him to Exegol, and there he meets Palpatine, where Kylo Ren learns that Palpatine was behind everything. Palpatine was the one who made Snoke, and Snoke was basically just Palpatine's puppet, and Palpatine was the reason why Ben Solo became Kylo Ren. And so Palpatine builds a new order, which is basically the resurrection of the Empire, and he builds ships, thousands of troop ships ready for war against the Resistance. And so the message comes across to the Resistance. They learn that Palpatine is alive, but they question how, with one suggesting that Palpatine is not a clone. Well, he's not. I'll get to that in a bit. And so now that Palpatine has resurrected, now they must find MacGuffins in order to get in order to reach Exegol. So the first thing they must find is this dagger, which is located in a place that looks like the planet that looks like Jakku, but it's not Jakku. But turns out that the dagger is hidden underneath the sand, like in this weird area, and this dagger leads them into the Death Star ruins. This Death Star ruins, where the Wayfinder is. And this Wayfinder is the map that leads to Palpatine Exegol, and so but their obstacle is Kylo Ren, who is going after Rey, who is seeking a missing piece of this Wayfinder, and so Rey and Kylo Ren duke it out to race against it, but then but Kylo Ren's real intention outside of that is to bring Rey to Palpatine, because Rey is a Palpatine, and Kylo Ren knows that, and so he wants, his objective is to tell Rey, is to make Rey find out that she is a Palpatine, and who she really is. And then you got the war with the Resistance versus the First Order, and Rey taking on Palpatine, and will Kylo Ren redeem himself, because this movie and The Last Jedi hints at it. So yeah, now where do I get started with Rise of Skywalker? And yes, guys, I will be using my typical style of reviews where I talk about backgrounds and reviews and all that stuff, and then get to my thoughts in the film. And trust me when I say I have a lot, and I mean a lot to say about it, which is why this is the Star Wars movie that I am most excited to see. In my review of The Force Awakens, I already mentioned how controversial the sequel trilogy is. You can it's easy to call this the most controversial movie trilogy of all time, and I think that Star Wars sequel trilogy is the most controversial movie trilogy of all time. Like, sure, I mean, The Force Awakens was loved on its own, but Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were so hated, like especially this one, that the Last Jedi, that even now people think, oh, this whole sequel trilogy is worthless and shouldn't have existed. And I know people are saying stuff like, The Last Jedi sucks because it pretty much broke the continuity of The Force Awakens. It was one big continuity error. Like the direction was changed, but then Rise of Skywalker was like, honestly, fuck Force Awakens. Yeah, that broke the camel's back. And when it comes to your expectations, yeah, there were some people who were not excited for this, who called it that Rise of Skywalker was going to be bad, but I mean, back in like 2018, believe it or not, there was actually excitement for this, anticipation for this, because this is the final Star Wars movie. This is the film to conclude the Skywalker saga. So expectations were certainly high, even if there were a minority of people who said, okay, I'm fucking done with Star Wars because Last Jedi killed it. Like, they brought back J.J. Abrams to direct it, who directed The Force Awakens, and now Rian Johnson is no longer. He moved on from Star Wars. He's now directing. He directed Knives Out around the same time. He directed Knives Out as well as the Knives Out franchise. He hasn't done anything since Knives Out, like any other projects. He was originally supposed to do his own Star Wars trilogy, but then it got cancelled because, I mean, I guess Last Jedi haters are mad, and they forced Rian Johnson to cancel it. So with J.J. Abrams directing Episode 9, fans were hoping that J.J. Abrams would fix the mistakes of The Last Jedi. Hoping that J.J. Abrams can unite the fandom once and for all. And there was actually hype with the trailers. And by the way, that teaser trailer was really good. Like, I actually compare Rise of Skywalker a lot to Frozen 2. Like, even back in the time when this movie came out, I was like comparing it to Frozen 2 nonstop. Obviously, it's a no-brainer that Frozen 2 is better. I think the majority of us, whether you like Frozen 2 or not, I think we can all agree that Frozen 2 is way better than The Rise of Skywalker. But why compare Frozen 2 to Rise of Skywalker, you may ask? Because both Frozen 2 and The Rise of Skywalker literally had the exact same teaser trailer. Like, when you watch the trailers for both, the teaser trailer for Frozen 2 and The Rise of Skywalker's teaser back to back, they were very similar in structure. I'll admit I was more hyped for Rise of Skywalker than Frozen 2. But the moment I saw Frozen 2, I was like, yeah, Rise of Skywalker is not topping this. I was predicting that Rise of Skywalker was going to be my third favorite movie of the year because of how good Frozen 2 was. Endgame was still my favorite movie of 2019 when it came out, until summer 2020 when I decided that Frozen 2 was my favorite movie. Rise of Skywalker was my second most anticipated movie of the year behind the Avengers Endgame. I think a vast majority of people would have had people's top two most anticipated movies of 2019 were Endgame at number 1 and Rise of Skywalker at number 2. I can see why. I mean, I have never been more hyped for a Star Wars movie than this, simply because it is the conclusion to the Skywalker saga. And I've always wished that Rise of Skywalker was going to be number one. I was thinking, could it be my favorite movie of all time? I mean, it's freaking Star Wars. Although 2019 is the year where I became more of a more Marvel than Star Wars. Like, back in 2017, 2016 to 2018, that period when I was a huge Star Wars fanboy. Now in 2019, I moved from Star Wars to Marvel. So, because of my love for Marvel, my love for Star Wars did decrease. But I still had high hopes for Rise of Skywalker because of the fact that this is the conclusion to the Skywalker saga. And of course, I'll always expect a lot from a conclusion to a long running franchise. I mean, Endgame was the perfect conclusion to the Infinity Saga. And you also got other finales like The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, and yeah. When it comes to the reviews of the Rise of Skywalker, sorry, I just drank Coke a few minutes before I recorded my review, but so bear with my burping. But anyway, so the reviews were really bad. Like, I was shocked at the Rotten Tomatoes score. Like, the first two both Force Awakens and Last Jedi had such a high rating. Like, they were some of the highest rated Star Wars movies that I would expect Rise of Skywalker to be no different. And even with mixed reactions, I was like, nah, they're probably from the Last Jedi haters. Critics are gonna love this, but when I saw it, it was a 57%. I was like, what the fuck? And I was shocked. I was pissed off at the critics. I still remember how shocked and pissed I was seeing the Rotten Tomatoes score. And then I saw the movie for myself in 4DX. Yeah, I saw this movie in 4DX. Right up there as one of the best 4DX experiences because, I mean, Star Wars and 4DX, what else can you get from that? Force Awake, sorry, this was among the best 4DX experiences, and I walked out really liking it, simply because of the 4DX experience. Maybe I would have liked it a lot less. I would have walked out saying it's not that good, if I saw it in a regular theater, but even upon seeing it in 4DX with high hopes, I actually walked out saying, I liked it. I think it's great, but it's not as great as sorry, it's not as great as it could have been, as I was expecting it to be. It did kind of fall short of my expectations, and even with the 4DX experience, I have noticed that, and I have noticed its problems, and upon second viewing, I hate this movie. And the more I thought about this movie, the more my thoughts decline and decline and decline. And yes, I started to hate the rewatch, and I hated it for a while. My thoughts would go from, mediocre to just straight up shit. And I know, I still remember the time when I was talking shit about this movie, that like on the internet, telling people, oh, Rise of Skywalker is shit, and I gave it 0 stars, and it's one of the worst movies of 2019, blah, blah, blah. I will admit, I gotta confess something, I only did that just for attention. I was basically this attention seeker who, I think you all know that I was kind of an anti-SJW just because I would keep listening to Geeks and Gamers and all those anti-woke channels, and that's why I became one myself. But yeah, I realized that my mind has been poisoned, and that's actually why I started to like Last Jedi, and then like Last Jedi because of how poisoned my mind was, and how I felt really bad for falling into the traps of Geeks and Gamers, because now I love like my whole personality is just my unique personality when it comes to my taste in film is my love for female led, like especially over male led, and just my love for female characters in general. And no, I don't have a crush on every single female character. I saw some comments claiming that I have a crush on everyone. No, not really. And I don't judge female characters based on how hot they look, like what some of you think. I know how to I know how to judge female characters. I can actually see I know the character in these female characters more than others would do. And if I were to judge female characters based on how hot they are, I would have like blindly praised Miranda Frost in Die Another Day. But she's an example of a female character who's hot, kind of hot, but I fucking hate her. I think she is a shitty villain. So there's that. But it took me a while. But it took me a while to actually have second thoughts on Rise of Skywalker because of how hated it is. Like I was still on the hate train for the Rise of Skywalker, and yes, last year I did have a bit of change of heart where I thought Rise of Skywalker was not that bad, but still bad. I really wanted to not hate it. I tried too hard, but I still thought of it as a bad movie, thinking about everything. But then I rewatched it last night. And 7 years later, I should mention as well. 7 years later, The Rise of Skywalker it's still like the most popular bad movie. How is it the most popular bad movie, you may ask? Well, they still talk about how bad it is. Like most of the time, bad movies, people will just move on from it or maybe bring it up once in a while. But with Rise of Skywalker, it's still everywhere. People saying how Rise of Skywalker is one of the worst movies ever made. And yes, as time goes on, Rise of Skywalker would get more and more hate, with some even go as far as calling this one of their least favorite movies of all time. But as for me, as a movie that as someone who had a change of heart from the type of person I was when Rise of Skywalker first came out in theaters, so where I would try to just have dishonest opinions just to gain attention. I gotta say, it's not that bad. I honestly don't think it's a bad movie at all. But I wouldn't call it a good movie either. So this is a film that I like and don't like at the same time. It's a film that's easy for me to turn on my brain and enjoy it for what it is, but also it's one that I enjoy picking apart every flaw in this film. Should I start with the positives or the negatives? How about that? Let's since the negatives about this movie are said by most people, how about I talk about what I like about this movie and why I don't think Rise of Skywalker is a bad movie at all. The biggest highlight about the film is how entertaining it is. This is one of the most action-packed Star Wars movies, up there with Revenge of the Sith and Rogue One. And in a way, The Force Awakens. There were only two bad action scenes in the film, which were that speeder chase where they said the cringy line, "They fly now." They fly now. I've always hated that scene ever since I saw the clip before the movie came out. That was so stupid. And the other one is the Rey versus Kylo Ren and Kimchi, like the first lightsaber duel between the two. But every other action scenes in the film are awesome as fuck. The opening scene with Kylo Ren taking down a bunch of armies or whatever the fuck they were, that was badass. Rey versus Kylo Ren on the Starkiller base ruins is a far better lightsaber duel than others make it out to be. And I say it's among the top 10 lightsaber duels. Not quite top 5, but almost. It's close. And then you got that huge final battle that was massive in scale. It may not be as huge as the final battles of Rogue One, and especially the final battle in Revenge of the Sith, but this was still a huge and bombastic final battle that is absolutely huge in scale, with an all-out war from the Resistance as well as Rey and Kylo versus Palpatine guards, which reminds me a lot about the one fight scene in The Last Jedi. The final battle in this movie is basically Revenge of the Sith meets Rogue One, the lightsaber fight of Revenge of the Sith. Well, Except that it's well, of course, I'm not trying to compare it to Anakin versus Obi-Wan, but basically in a way where you have like two battles in one final battle simultaneously. Revenge of the Sith meets Rogue One with a little bit of Last Jedi's action scenes. That's the best way to describe the final battle in this film. The pacing is absolutely quick, which makes for an entertaining watch. I mean, admittedly, there was 30 minutes of the film that was pretty boring, which is like the scene where the characters are in Kimchi and they meet Babu Frick. Zori like tries to give Poe a pep talk, and Babu Frick tries to fix C-3PO. Yeah, that scene kind of dragged for me, but other than that, it's a really entertaining. It's a very entertaining film. Yeah, yeah, and it's honestly hard for me to criticize a movie for being fast paced. Even if, yes, I know fast paced is typically, objectively, is an issue when a movie gets too fast. Because of how it glosses over stories. But when I enjoy a movie that's fast paced, I just say enjoy it. Although when it comes to fast pacing in kids movies, yeah, that's something I have a problem with because of it's basically the equivalent of eating candy. But no, not no, I'm not criticize. I'm not going to criticize Super Mario Galaxy movie for its fast pacing. And the visuals and cinematography are good, but just not on the same level as The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi is the most visually and gorgeously shot Star Wars movie ever. You could easily tell that Rian Johnson has far more of a distinct visual style than J.J. Abrams. Yeah, the visuals in this one are pretty much very much like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Like on par with Force Awakens when it comes to visuals. Regardless of that dumb ending, the final shot of Rey and BB-8 looking at the sunset was beautiful, and I think it did capture the iconic shot of A New Hope with Luke looking into the binary sunset. And yeah, regardless of what y'all have to say about Rey, one of the most controversial fictional characters of all time, Daisy Ridley continues to show that she gives the best performance in the sequel trilogy, and this is no exception. Yes, I will say that this is, out of all the films in the sequel trilogy, this is probably Daisy Ridley's weakest performance as Rey, but I still think she did a fantastic job as Rey. And I will say that Rey is Daisy Ridley's best performance, but yeah, Last Jedi is Daisy Ridley's best performance to me overall, and then Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, yes, I will say that there were times when Daisy really does overact, like especially especially when she yells "Choe" after striking that ship. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. And then there was another scene with Daisy really cringily overacting. I forgot what that was, but oh well. Oh yeah. Adam Driver's performance is excellent too, just like with the whole sequel trilogy. Now, I disagree with the criticism that there was no character development at all. Sure, yes, the movie did put plot over characters, as the plot was very concerned with trying to answer as much fan theories as possible. But I'll get to that later. But I don't think it had no character development. I mean, and yes, I will say I mean I can see why people would think that Rey's character development was bad, and it wasn't well written. I think the way that they handled Rey's character development, with her being a Palpatine and her still trying to find her family lineage after, even when Last Jedi revealed that Rey was a nobody. Yeah, it was not well executed. Her character development was not well executed, but it's the direction to blame, not the characters. Ben had a decent character arc, redemption arc, but though I find it to be a bit thin. Regardless of that one shitty line Poe said, Poe actually had the most character development in this. What's Poe's character development, you may ask? Given how he failed to find help in the Last Jedi's climax, Poe comes to the realization that feeling alone is how he gets defeated and must open his eyes to a bigger variety of help in order to win. I guess that's. Oh yeah. Um, One thing I forgot to mention in my Letterboxd review, because once again I'm using Letterboxd as my guide for this review. I forgot to mention this. John Williams' score is great. Sure, there's some bizarre choices here, but yeah, I mean using the binary sunset the when the Papa is defeated was not the best choice. But I actually think John Williams' score was good overall. Was what yeah, really good. And I don't think I disagree with Shay Furnace about the score being awfully bad. Like I get his points. I can see where he's coming from, but when I watch the movie for myself, I don't really have the feeling to agree with him. I mean, like in the final battle where they used the Ray's theme when Ray fought against Palpatine's guards, I actually like that. I dig that choice. I like it actually works for me. Ray's theme is probably the best piece of music in the sequel in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, by the way. But now let's get into my flaws with the film, and oh boy, that's gonna take me probably another 20 minutes to do so. So bear with me on a possibly 40-minute review. But then again, I don't want to predict how long it will take. Where the fuck do I get started with the review with the flaws? Yeah. The biggest flaw with the film is easily the writing. Out of all the Star Wars movies, this probably has the worst writing in the saga. Like, seriously. With the way The Last Jedi broke the fandom, the story in this one makes such a desperate move to get the fans back, to win the fans back, but it was executed in such a horrendous way. I'm sick of hearing all the arguments that, it was hard to make this good because of how big of a damage The Last Jedi did to Star Wars. But they still could have made a good follow-up to The Last Jedi while still being an excellent conclusion to the franchise. People were saying that, Rise of Skywalker can be excused for being bad. It's Last Jedi. It's The Last Jedi's fault. But here's the thing, guys. Last Jedi is the middle act in the trilogy. And it's actually normal for a middle act of a trilogy to be the weakest one, or just be like the one weakling. Well, I still think Last Jedi is the best of the sequels, but I think we all know that it happens often with trilogies that the middle one would be the weakest. But Rise of Skywalker is the finale. So in regards to what Star Wars movie had no excuse to be bad, it's Rise of Skywalker. Even if I don't think it's bad, seriously, I will say this is actually a bad. As a finale to Star Wars, this is actually bad. Even if I don't think the movie as a whole is bad, this film retcons The Last Jedi in a desperate attempt to reunite the fans, but. Yeah, this just made it worse because again, like what I said earlier, The Last Jedi just made the fans mad that it broke the continuity of The Force Awakens, but with Rise of Skywalker, it made people see that the whole sequel trilogy is bad and worthless. Seriously, they should have just kept Rey not being related to any major Star Wars character we know and love. But they had, Last Jedi was, the reveal that Rey doesn't really have a lineage. Like, Rey's parents were both dead, and she doesn't relate to any, character. People were expecting Rey to be related to Obi-Wan. That was brilliant, and it shows that Rey can be independent. And I mean, just because Rey is a strong Jedi, and pretty much the main Jedi of this trilogy, doesn't mean that she should be connected to a legacy character. She can still be independent and on her own. But Rey being a Palpatine is worse than ever. I mean, I would have been fine with Rey being related to Obi-Wan or Anakin, but Palpatine, what the fuck? That is really stupid. And speaking of Palpatine, Oh man. Yeah, this movie retcons Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. And I said that the biggest problem with the film was the writing, which is semi true actually. Only semi true. The worst thing, what really killed this movie's potential for me is the decision to bring back Palpatine. Oh man. Yeah, that is easily the biggest sin to bring back Palpatine. Bring back Palpatine is the worst decision ever made for a Star Wars movie. By bringing him back, it ruins the legacy of Anakin slash Darth Vader, the person who sacrificed himself by killing his own master to save his son Luke. But but with Palpatine revealed to not be dead, it ruins it makes Vader's honorary sacrifice meaningless. Also, as great as the visuals in this are, I do not like Palpatine CGI. I mean, it looks really shit, and I hate the way that they use Palpatine in this is so boring. What happened to the sinister presence of and powerful presence of Palpatine in the original in Return of the Jedi and Revenge of the Sith? Now Palpatine is just this this corpse who just sits down and yaps and blah blah blah, and he still has his lightning powers, but he just stands there doing nothing. And those cons that Revenge of the Sith quotations like the dark side of the Force is a pathway to eternity, some consider to be unnatural. Right at the beginning of the movie, Palpatine's first lines, when we hear his voice, when Kylo Ren searches for Palpatine, and in the climax, Palpatine says, "Do it, yeah, do it." Yeah, like the exact same way he says to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, fuck me, man. Yeah. Outside of the retcons, the script is just not well written, with dialogue so bad that they became memed, and it actually makes the prequel dialogue look better in comparison. I mean, you got your lines like somehow Palpatine returned, which I actually laughed at when they said that, like, on my latest rewatch, because of how memed it is, and also it shows that Poe just doesn't give a shit. Like, the way that Oscar executed the line, somehow Palpatine returned, he showed this disinterested expression, this impression that he didn't want to say it, but he was forced to, and all that stuff. Oh, and also let's not forget, they fly now, and the constant exposition dumping, characters constantly explaining things to the audiences. Like Rey and Kylo versus Kylo and Kimchi was basically just Kylo Ren explaining to Rey, like trying to exposition dump while they just have like a few lightsaber hits and all that stuff, and that's actually why that was a bad lightsaber fight. Probably my least favorite lightsaber duel in Star Wars. And of course, like like Kylo Ren just telling Rey, "You're a Palpatine." Like, is that the best way to reveal that? Just by telling the audiences directly? God damn. Oh, and the structure itself is just a mess, which is why the way I explained the plot synopsis of the film is messy. It jumbles itself by hopping from one planet to another so quickly in a story that's all about collecting useless MacGuffins after useless MacGuffins, all to find a map that leads to Palpatine. Isn't that the plot of The Force Awakens, which was about finding and protecting the missing piece of the map that leads to Luke Skywalker? And yes, and by the way, a minute ago, I mentioned laughing. Oh my goodness, the comedy in this is so bad. Like, the comedy is basically just characters being stupid. Like, oh, they fly now. They fly now. They fly now. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, is that supposed to be funny? The fact that we see stormtroopers like flying in flying in jetpacks, and then they're like, oh, they fly now. Oh, they fly now. Like, and then yeah, they're telling the audiences that they fly now. Fuck me. They're wearing jetpacks, bro. It's not like the stormtroopers are magically flying. It's normal for people to wear jetpacks and then just fly. Like, so the fact that they're surprised that the stormtroopers can fly with jetpacks, it's stupid. What's even more stupid is that we've seen troopers, maybe not stormtroopers, but other kinds of troopers fly with jetpacks. One example, Attack of the Clones. They actually did that. Yeah. Oh, and also there's also the joke of Hux of Hux revealing that he's a spy by shooting stormtroopers and then saying, I'm a spy, and then Poe jokingly says, I knew it. Like, come on. Like, seriously. It's just really dumb. The new characters like Zori, Jana, and Richie Grant's character, Admiral General Pride, yeah, that's his name. They were really useless. Like, they were completely wasted. Like, why even add new characters? Like, what did Zori do? Oh, give Poe a pep talk, like motivate Poe to have his motivation. Even if I did kind of like Poe's character arc, they didn't need to rely on new character to drive Poe's character arc forward. And then you also got Jana because they needed to Jana is basically another character like Finn, who was a stormtrooper who betrayed the First Order and joined the good side. Honestly, it's too late for that. It's too late to introduce another character like Finn. So what the fuck was the point? And oh wait, does Finn have a new love interest now? It seems like that's the reason why Jana exists. And General Pride, what the fuck was he even doing? What was the whole point of it? Like, he had no reason to be his one. Or at least don't cast a popular actor as him if they're just not gonna do anything. I feel bad for Richard E. Grant, man. He's a good actor who did deserve a role like that. And oh yeah, and also characters like Finn and General Hux, who were two of the highlights in The Force Awakens, were completely treated like a joke. What happened to the stormtrooper who redeemed himself and what happened to the villain who was basically an allegory of Hitler? They're not themselves in this. Like, Finn should have been the main character, the main Jedi. And even though I don't dislike Rey, and I do accept a female Jedi lead, maybe they should have made Rey the stormtrooper who turned good. But Finn having that very interesting arc of a stormtrooper who joined the rebellion, and then now he's basically reduced to the useless side character. I actually defend Finn in the Last Jedi. I don't think he's as useless as people say this, but Rise of Skywalker, Ray, shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's basically his character. And General Hux, like, seriously, going from Adolf Hitler, giving an Adolf Hitler speech before blowing up the Starkiller base in The Force Awakens, which is probably my favorite scene in the film on reflection. I didn't say it in the review, but I think that was my favorite scene in the film. How do I say this? Being a joke, like being the spy, like the mole, the First Order's mole. Oh, and also they also did him dirty in The Last Jedi too, by the way. That was my one of my issues with The Last Jedi, despite my love for that film. And let's talk about Rey. Look, I like Rey overall. I think she's a good character. I get why she's so controversial. I was fine with Rey in the film, but the writers just took things way too far with her. Like how she got overpowered in defeating Palpatine. Like when and by the way, thinking that, yeah, I gotta talk about that cheesy ending. When like Palpatine would like strike his hands at Rey, and then Rey would like block it with um one of her lightsabers, and then Palpatine would be like, "I am all the Sith," and then Rey will be like, "And I am all." She grabs her second lightsaber, but I think it's a lightsaber with that Luke gave to her, as well as her own personal lightsaber, and she says, "I am all the Jedi," and then she would use that other lightsaber to support her defense, and would just strike back, so like she would go God mode and would defeat Palpatine so easily. And even if I like Rey, I don't think it was a very good idea to make Rey go God mode. And then there's the dumb ending. Oh my goodness, where Rey was like, this old woman. I think it's the same one from early in the film. She asked Rey, "Who are you?" Rey says, "I'm Rey." And then the grandma says, "Rey, who?" Rey looks at the sky. Rey looks forward and sees like a force ghost of Luke and Leia. Rey calls herself Rey Skywalker. What the fuck? Like, so she's Rey Palpatine and now she's Rey Skywalker. Fuck. Like, that was so stupid. Yeah, I still remember that video. This recording where when this like theater reaction back when it came out, where Rey says Rey Skywalker, and then the entire audience would rage quit, like would shout so loud out of anger. That was actually hilarious. But yeah, I do not like the ending. I think that ending of Rey calling herself Skywalker definitely deserves the hate. So overall, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is a tale of two halves, an entertaining action blockbuster, and my pick for the most disappointing movie of all time. For a Star Wars movie that's supposed to conclude one of the most famous franchises ever made, it could have ended so much better. Sure, I mean, this may be the worst Star Wars movie, like what everyone else say. And I'd still go back to the film with pleasure, but it is hands down the weakest of the sequel trilogy. And I think the sequel trilogy is overall an overhated trilogy. This movie is just like, you can clearly see why the movie is so controversial. Why people are obsessively hating on this, and why people's thoughts in the film gets worse. Like their views of the film get more and more negative as time goes on. This is the Star Wars film that completely broke Star Wars up to the point where now people don't see Star Wars as an event. And now and we haven't even had a Star Wars movie in 7 years until Mandalorian Grogu, and people aren't, and most people have no interest in Mandalorian Grogu, up to a point where it's already tracking to be the biggest box office flop in Star Wars history. Oh boy. So with that said, guys, I'm going to give Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker a 3 out of 5 stars. Closer to a 2.5 out of 5. And if you saw my list on Letterboxd, yes, I do call Rise of Skywalker my least favorite 3 out of 5 movie, and that was actually a very easy pick, by the way. So also for my review of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, what are your thoughts on the movie? Would you agree with me that Rise of Skywalker is right in the middle of the reactions, from the ones who defended to the ones that hated? Are you a Rise of Skywalker hater, or do you actually think Rise of Skywalker is underrated? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review on Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. Yes, guys, this concludes my reviews of the Star Wars Skywalker saga. And yeah, that was a lot of fun talking about them. Now it's time for Mandalorian Grogu. And yeah, I'm honestly, I think it's inevitably going to get the Orion score like Rise of Skywalker, because of the reactions, like the positive reviews are saying it's just fun, but the negative reviews, oh boy. They say it's better Rise of Skywalker. I think it will be better Rise of Skywalker, but yeah, still, let's see how it is. You'll definitely hear my thoughts from my out there reaction, but full review of that comes out on Friday or maybe on a later day, depends. So yeah, bye guys.